Dear humans, I stand here today not for myself, but for every tail wagger, sloppy kisser, and curtain ninja. I stand here for each one of the thousands of dogs and cats killed in shelters each day, asking you to join our cause and help us make sure every best friend has a chance to meet one of their own. With Best Friends Animal Society leading the charge, and your help, we can save them all.
Thank you for joining us for Pet Connect. I'm Tara Douglas. Today is not only Valentine's Day, but it is National Pet Theft Awareness Day. So we've got some information here. It was launched in 1988 by the Last Chance for Animals organization, and it's aimed at educating animal owners on how to keep their pets safe from thieves. Most people are not aware that almost 2 million pets are stolen annually in the United States alone, so that threat's quite real. Pets who are purebred are particularly susceptible to most crimes because they are worth something on the black market, or they can be taken for breeding purposes and their puppies or kittens could then be sold. So it's vitally important that pet owners become aware of this risk that their pets might be in, and takes a precaution to not only on Pet Awareness Day, Theft Awareness Day, but every day of the year. This could happen at any time. So just make sure that you keep your pets in a good, safe place, and then you don't have to worry about anybody taking them. So it's sad to think somebody would do that, but obviously that threat is real if they have a day for it. So remember today, Pet Theft Awareness Day, talk to your friends and family and keep your pets safe. Now we are going to talk about our pet of the week. So this is a pet that's at the Sylacauga Animal Shelter. We have a dog, her name is Stella. She and her sister are both there, Scarlett. So they're both very sweet dogs. All of our dog walkers love Stella. So make sure to come out and meet her. You can call the shelter and go and talk to them. They're both young dogs. I believe the other puppies in their litter have been adopted, and they're just growing up at the shelter. So we want to do our best to keep that from happening. And Stella and Scarlett are just staff favorites. They are volunteer favorites. Not that all of them aren't, but make sure you stop by and take them for walks. Don't forget that we'll be there Saturday from 11 to 1 walking, and you can come meet this really sweet dog. This was the chosen one for Pet of the Week from the volunteers on Saturday. But speaking of dogs and the shelter and all the lovely things that we talk about here on Pet Connect, I'm very excited to have Heather Jones here. She's Coosa Valley Canine. So Heather, thank you so much for coming on the show. So tell us a little bit about who you are, because you're new to the area.
Yes, very new. I arrived in August of last year. I came down to start a business with friends. So originally 3 business partners, but one has fallen off. So we're the 2 here in Sylacauga, and we do have plans. So we're getting ready to bring in front of the city and hopefully get a nice facility up and running.
Okay.
Yep. Right now I'm mobile. I go to my clients. I help them. I'm starting some classes up. Hopefully those will get going.
Okay. So just the opportunity of being able to start the business here brought you to Sylacauga.
Yes.
Now, tell us about your business. It's Coosa Valley Canine. I've heard wonderful things about you. So
yes, so we do a lot of pet training and behavior modification. So aggression cases, fear-based cases, things like that. But mostly just pet training, just manners, and we offer day train, board and train, and lessons.
Okay, now you came to us from Massachusetts.
Yes, ma'am.
So what did you do there? Did you train pets there as well?
I did. So originally, I graduated with a bachelor's in psychology and a minor in behavior. So then I purchased a franchise dog training company. So that is where my original training came from. And then I sold that company because of some of the things they were doing I wasn't really pleased with.
Okay.
And I had to take 2 years off on a no-compete. And then I opened my own facility where I service 52 dogs a day in Massachusetts.
Okay, wow, it
was quite a large facility.
That's a lot of dogs.
Yeah, it sure was.
So what kind of training have you had?
So the degrees, and then I have trained under some of the best trainers in the world. Ivan Balabanov, he's down in Florida. Some of my colleagues, So, there's unfortunately in the industry, there's no real certification, which it's not, it needs to be regulated. I think that is first and foremost very important. But unfortunately, just anybody can call themselves a dog trainer. So when you're looking for a dog trainer, I would definitely ask them, you know, what is your education? Who have you worked with? What are your methods? What are your approaches? What are your techniques? Because that will really tell you who is, you know, a true dog trainer or not.
And what kind of techniques do you use for your training?
I would consider myself balanced trainer.
Okay.
So I use the 4 quadrants of psychology to, you know, manipulate behaviors. So I do not believe in getting handsy with dogs at all. I think that can really affect your relationship. But I don't just, you know, just use food. I do use a negative reinforcement, whether that be a leash correction on a flat collar. You know, each dog is very different. You need different approaches, different techniques. There is no one way. I wish there was. I wish it was that easy, but it isn't, you know.
But that's good that you've got that kind of background where you know if one technique's not working, that you can move to another technique, and there are other ways that you can train each dog.
And you need to get creative sometimes, because even still today, 15 years later, I find myself like trying to critically think through some things, you know, because each dog is so very different. You'll never run into the same dog again. So you really need to, in the science, there's a science behind this stuff, you know, and you can train a dog and just suppress behaviors and make them mind, but I want to bring the best out in a dog, and I want them happy, and I want our relationship to be meaningful, and how do you keep that intact? It's very meticulous work.
And I know every dog is different, like you just said, but how long does it typically take with training? So if someone comes to you and they want to train their dog, what are the different options, and what do you recommend for them to figure out? What do they need to do, and how much time commitment is it going to be?
Sure. So if the owner is really in it and they want to do a lot of the work themselves, I suggest lessons. It's also, or a group class. But it does take a much longer time for a pet owner versus me to get the job done, because I'm skilled. And so you're talking, it takes 6 months to a year for a pet owner to get what I can get done in 8 weeks, or even a month on a board and train. Then we have day train, and that is an 8-week program. You can come either 2 days a week or 3 days a week. The dog goes home at night, and you get 1 lesson a week. And that is much, much faster. We have a nice solid foundation after that program. And then I have a board and train, and I don't recommend that for every dog at all. Usually somebody who wants to get there really, really fast, or if it's a behavior modification. Right now I have an aggression case.
Okay.
Those are things that take a while. Even beyond a month of a board and train, we're still doing work. So those come with lifetime training.
Okay.
So they get me for the life of the dog.
That's great.
Yes.
Now, so right now you're doing some group classes.
I'm trying to start some, yes.
Okay, and then you're also doing the board and train. And then what other things do you have on the ground right now here?
So I have met with the shelter staff, and I'm really excited to get that relationship started. So we're going to be offering some free group classes to adopters.
Okay.
And I'd like to start moving some dogs up north if we can, which I did get one up north last week for my clients. Because the dog would not leave their house. Okay. So we vetted the dog, we raised a little money, and we got him up north into a permanent home. He's a doll. And I'd like to start doing some of those things, connecting shelters up there with you guys, you know, and just getting these dogs in homes.
That's great. So tell us the story about the stray that you just got up to Massachusetts.
Oh my gosh.
That's an interesting story.
His name is Pickles, and he's with my daughter currently, so she's also a dog trainer. And she's putting a foundation on him, and he's great. He's never been in a home. He's a little Jack Russell mix, and he's potty trained already. He's walking on a leash. This was a terrified dog. He wouldn't even come near people. And in 2 weeks' time, he's living the high life. He's in a fluffy bed and on oceanfront property.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so
he's
really living it up now.
Yeah, he's in Connecticut. Yeah.
Well, it's so good to have you here. And it's so good to have another resource to help find areas that we can send dogs, because we have too many dogs in this area.
I agree.
And if we don't get the spaying and neutering really under control, then it's going to continue. But it's nice to have some resources, because feral dogs, I know Stephanie at the shelter, the manager of the shelter, she works with different people to try to get dogs out of the area. Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill gets dogs out of the area, and now we've got another resource. So that's wonderful that we've got you here, and you've already gotten Pickles out of here.
Yes.
And Pickles living the high life on the coast.
Yes.
So let's talk about the shelter. You came by, and it was so wonderful to have you stop by and meet everybody and get to see the dogs and see what's going on. So you said you want to do some of the group classes at the shelter. anything else going on at the shelter? Any advice for new pet owners? Because I worry about people coming and adopting a pet at the shelter and then just not knowing what to do, because those dogs have been through who knows what before they end up at the shelter.
Really, we don't see personalities or true behaviors come out at least for 3 months. So even when I take a board and train, I don't sometimes see that true dog at all, or only 2 weeks in. So now I only have 2 weeks to work with the real genuine behaviors.
Okay.
People need to give the animals time to settle in, and then once any concerning behaviors pop up, get with a professional immediately so that we can address those. And I'm certainly going to be donating my time to the more significant cases out of the shelter. Individual lessons, private lessons, I have no problems doing that. I'd love to help. And you know, it's very, very important that we give them time, because they've been in different situations. They've been at the shelter, which is very overwhelming. It really sets dogs into a spiral. It winds them up in anxiety. It takes them time to come out of that state of mind.
And it's amazing how, you know, even just having the dog walking every Saturday, we've seen a change in how the shelter dogs act, because they know they're going to get out, and they know that the staff are getting them out a lot more, and they know that, you know, we have volunteers that are now stopping by during the week. So we've got a good support system, and even just that little bit, we're seeing different kind of personalities come from these dogs, even though they're not quite out of their situation yet, and they're not in a home yet. But it's amazing to have that information. And when we hear about dogs that have just gone, that they are tired of being at that shelter and they finally get adopted, you do hear so many great stories a lot of times after they leave, and how they can calm down and be a completely different personality dog.
Absolutely. And you have to think, they're in a kennel run for a substantial amount of time, and everybody's barking, and they are trapped, and they get trapped in their mind as well. So we have to give them time.
And that'll be great to have some more enrichment if you're going out there to because you've got the experience, you know, and then maybe there can be a lot of ideas that can come from your experience that the other volunteers can start
Absolutely.
doing.
And I'll be working one-on-one with some of the dogs that are currently there as well. I talked with Stephanie, so we'll be getting that going soon, hopefully.
Great. That sounds wonderful. Now, your future plans with your business, I know I saw on Facebook you've been asking some questions to the community. What kind of plans do you hope to have there?
So my business partner and I are getting ready for some blueprints on a building.
Okay.
So that will be in Sylacauga per permits and stuff, approvals. But we are looking to do a metal steel building, heated and cooled, cameras for boarding, so that people feel safe, given our current, our past, issues here with trainers. But we'll do one side daycare, one side boarding, and the middle room will be training for classes, lessons, and day trains.
Okay. Well, that sounds great.
Yeah,
it'd be great to have that kind of opportunity and that kind of system here.
Yes,
so,
I think our community could really use it too.
I think so. I think we have a lot of people that would love to have that and love to utilize that. So that's just wonderful. Now, you've got your own pets.
Yes,
so
I do.
Tell us a little bit about your pets.
So I compete in protection sports with my dogs. I have Belgian Malinois, and I just got a Dutch Shepherd puppy as well, not on purpose. So many dogs here, right? So that's what we do.
Now, we got a picture of you here.
Oh,
who is that?
Oh, that is my oldest dog, Hera. So she is actually the reason that I am a dog trainer. She was the reason I am a dog trainer. So she was highly aggressive with other dogs, and that is the company I bought that I have the shirt on there. And she was able to be with dogs. She was a great dog.
And is she wearing a medal?
Yes.
So what did she win?
We competed in dock dogs with her.
Okay.
And so that is tracking a toy into a pool.
Oh.
Yep.
That sounds fun.
She loved it, and so that was her. I believe maybe her. Yeah, there she is right there jumping. That was in New York State at a fair. But yeah.
That was like pure happiness. Her jumping off that edge there.
She lived to do that.
Now, will you have any kind of setup where you could do that here?
Yes, we do plan on. There is a pool over in a few towns over. I forget the name of it, but it's an AKC sanctioned dock pool.
Okay.
And they're really great. But we do plan on getting a dock pool set up as well.
Okay. And then are you going to be doing some agility kind of training?
We hope to do that as well, yes.
Okay. So we've had all these different dogs. They're your Malinois.
Yep, that's my first Malinois. He's still with me. He's getting older. He's 9 now. Hudson. He came from the Netherlands. I had him imported. So he was and then my female. She's the high competition dog, Enya, and she is about to turn 5 now. She was probably 2 in that picture, or maybe even a little older than 1. And now I have her daughter, Carice, and she's just 13 weeks.
Okay, so you've got a puppy on your hands.
Yes,
then.
and they are a lot, those dogs.
They are.
They are a lot.
Doesn't matter what kind of puppy they are a lot of work.
They are a ton.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, and we appreciate you moving to Sylacauga because it's so nice to have access to someone like you, and appreciate all your help at the shelter. You're just really jumping in and taking care of things. So your work here will be very much appreciated. And like I said, I've heard so many good things about you from your clients.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're excited to hear more about it. We'll have you on the show once you get everything set up and get your building done and really get kind of settled into when you're going to have classes and what you're going to do with training. We'll have you back on the show and we'll talk about that. And then we can highlight some of the shelter dogs that you've worked with and have those as pet of the week.
Yes, absolutely.
They can already go to a home with a little bit of training, so that'll be perfect.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate you coming, and don't forget that we will be at the shelter this Saturday from 11 to 1. You can meet Stella, and you can also meet all of the other pups. They need homes and they need love. And then don't forget, do some research. It's National Pet Theft Awareness Day. We don't want anyone to have their pets stolen, so take some precautions and make sure that you keep your pets safe. And we'll have more Daybreak after these messages.